Hi guys, David with Lonesome Dog Studios. We're back again. We're on the Nord Stage 3. We're going to be talking about how to combine patches. So you've gone away, you've had a play, you like the sound of your effects with your engines, but you want to combine your synth with your piano with your organ, or your organ with your synth. Here are 3 patches that you can use straight away. Let's go. So number 1, we're using the piano and the synth together. Probably my favorite combo, probably the one that you'll use all the time. We've got a very simple patch loaded up here. There's probably a preset already in the Nord that's similar to this or exactly the same, but I did this myself and I'll show you how I did it, just so you can have a mess around and not have to worry about patches being saved in the Nord already. So obviously we've got our piano module on and we've got our synth module on. Piano, we're using just the Royal Grand 3D. The best sounding one, I think, personally, just sounds great on its own. And all we're doing is we're adding on some synth strings underneath that. So this is a very common pad used in the musical theatre world all the time. If you've ever gone to see a show and it's got keys 1 or keys 2, this sound is guaranteed to be used at some point. All it's doing is it's going to give us a bit more sustain through our playing. Obviously, the piano will slowly drift away, but our strings are just going to keep it going a little bit longer. So it's kind of just combining a piano and a pad together, but just makes it a bit more organic because it's strings. We'll also move on to something slightly different in just a second, which I've saved on the other one, which is very similar, but just adds a little bit extra to it. So this pad, I'm sure you all know the sound of it, sounds like this. So as you can hear, as the piano drifts away, we've got the strings just staying there. A really, really versatile sound, great for just your general writing because you get the benefit of continued sound, but also with the attack of the piano. So how I made this, really, really simple, literally just loaded up the piano and kept it as it is. Only changes I really made was to make it soft and just makes it a little bit warmer. And then the strings, I just flicked through with my synth, found the string pad, which is 142, brought down the frequency just a little bit, and it sounds great, really simple. Easy peasy. So let's jump to 1.5, which I've saved on this panel over here. Very similar. So we've got a sustained sound happening with our synth and obviously the piano over the top, but our velocity gives us just a little bit of extra. So if I play just normally, we've not got a string sound as such. What we do have though is if we press a little bit harder, we get a little bit of extra attack after the note. So this is normal. And this is with a little bit of extra attack. Which is a great sound. So we're just adding in some more interest after the note. I think a lot of the focus of what we're doing, combining engines and adding effects, is just to give a bit more interest after what we've played. You know, the notes do all the hard work to begin with, and if you're constantly playing, then that's fine. But, you know, if you're doing these long kind of block chords like this, you just want something interesting to happen after the note, and doing this just really gives it that little extra kind of flair after you've played the note. And then just a little extra tip on top of that, if we add just a little bit of flange to the synth underneath the piano, maybe not that much, we just get even more interest afterwards as well. And because we're applying the flange just to our synth, if we just want a little bit less of that, you know, we just bring down the level of the synth. And then we've got some interest after the note happening, which is great. So that's a good start. You know, piano, synth together, absolutely killer combo. Use a little bit of flanging, use some strings, use some wave string patches. Jobs are good in. Okay, cool. So on to number 2, piano and synth again, but slightly different. We've switched over to our digital piano and we're using our DX7 tines, which is a very, very common sound. Definitely heard that before from, of course, the Yamaha DX7 back in the day. We're just adding in a little bit of extra sparkle to that using our glass shimmer. We've messed around with the envelope just a little bit. Frequencies all the way up just for that extra sparkle. Just gives us a really, really great sound to put on top of stuff. So maybe combine this with the patch that we did before, our strings and piano. We're just getting a little bit of extra happening on top there. On their own, they're a little bit weak. I think they might not just be enough to increase the energy up top that you want. But, you know, if we add in some effects as well, which will be our 2.5 tip, we've got a little bit of chorus happening. If we add in loads of reverb, loads of information then happening at the top. This one is quite a short decay. We've got things dying off quite quick, but if you did want to use it a little bit more paddy, all we need to do is just increase our delay over here. Then we've got a little bit more of a pad, but I think it works better as almost a little bit of a percussive element. Great sound, very flexible, very different from the last one, so put this in your bank and use it whenever you fancy. Okay, on to our third and final patch. We're pulling out all the stops, literally pulling out 3 stops all the way on our organ. We've got our piano. Over on our miscellaneous, we're using a little bit of an electric piano ballad sound. We've got a warm pad in the synth. It's just a very flexible sound, I think. It's very specific. You know, we're not going to be using this all the time. We've got some effects on as well, but it's just a great sound to mess around with, I think. And you might find a place for this where no one else has found one. So let's have a little listen and just see how it sounds. So very flexible there. I think as the sound goes on, you're hearing each section of each engine in its own kind of right. We're getting lots of the piano to begin with. Loads of that attack is just this sound. Slightly a bit of the low end in the attack from our organ and our warm pad slowly coming up afterwards. Then if we sustain our note, we lose our piano as it drifts away. We get our organ carrying on. And then underneath that, just a very soft pad, just to support it a little bit. So it's a very flexible sound. We can really cover all types of playing here. Very flexible in short notes, quick playing solos, but also works as a pad. And the best part is you can just balance things really easily with our volumes. So if you're not liking how much attack we're getting, just bring down our piano, then it's working a bit more as a pad, or opposite way around. Bit more attack, we just bring down our synth, bring down our organ, and we get way more attack. So really, really flexible sound, really great just to mess around with, get some ideas down. Just a really fun patch to play with, really. Very nice. Okay, great. So take those 3, have a mess around. The kind of philosophy I was trying to take here to create these sounds is just thinking about what each module is really good at, what engine is good at, and how we can apply that with other modules and how they can complement each other. So knowing that the piano is really good for, you know, quick, short percussive notes to begin with, but not very good at sustaining. Knowing that the synth is very flexible and sustained notes are a big feature of it. We can choose different kind of timbres to change over time, that kind of thing. And then knowing that the organ just has such a specific sound and works as both initial sound and also sustained sound. Combining all 3, you can get some really, really unique sounds out of it, which is great. And then, of course, affecting all of that with some effects as well. Just creates such a thick, such an interesting and such a different sound, which, you know, no one else has probably discovered if you ever mess around with. So that's everything for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And we will catch you in the next one.